Hi, friends. I have a book here for you called Ant and Grasshopper. It was written by Luli Gray and illustrated by Gulinio Fari. This looks like it is going to be a treat. I hope you enjoyed as much as I do. Ant was rich. His house was very grand, with many rooms, and the storeroom was his favorite. All through the spring and summer, he worked hard gathering things to eat for the winter, and every afternoon he went to the storeroom to count them. By June, he had 947 beans, 28 raisins, and a fine, smelly wedge of yellow cheese. 945, he counted, 946, 947, and then he took exactly 3 bites of cheese. Delicious, he said, and he began to count his raisins. One day he sat counting. He heard a noise. Shh, he said, I'm counting. The noise went on and on. Ant opened the door, and there on his lawn stood a grasshopper playing a fiddle. Well, I never, said Ant. Well, I always, said Grasshopper. It's June, Ant. The sun is warm, the sky is blue. Come out and dance. I'll play for you. Humph, said Ant. You should be storing up food for the winter, not fiddling around, wasting time. All summer long, Ant worked hard. Every afternoon he counted his beans and his raisins and his cheese. All summer long he heard Grasshopper playing his fiddle and singing. Sometimes the music got into Ant's head and made him lose count. 24, no, 26. Oh, drat, that grasshopper. September came. It was harvest time, and Ant added to his rich store. He had 604 kernels of corn, 72 peanuts, and a piece of ham bigger than he was. Delicious and nutritious, he said. Come, ye thankful creatures, come, sing a song of harvest home. All is safely gathered in, ere the winter storm begins, sang Grasshopper, peeking in the window. Oh, hush, Ant said, yanking down the shade. October came with the bright leaves tumbling on the breeze that carried a promise of winter. Ant sat fidgeting at his desk, trying to add up his accounts. But his pen kept making swans out of the 2s and fat snowmen out of the 8s, and the numbers hopped up in his head, refusing to settle down. 604 kernels of corn gathered on the summer morn. No. 7 ounces of ham. Yes, ma'am. Oh, for heaven's sake, what is wrong with me? He heard a tap, tap, tapping and flung open the door. Oh, Ant, let me come in. There's a good fellow. He is getting cold and I'm so hungry. Ah, said Ant, I knew it was you with your fiddly-dee-doo. I warned you. You danced and sang all summer, while respectable folk worked hard for a living, and it serves you right. Good night. And he slammed the door and went back to counting. November blew in, cold and blustery. Ooh, cried the wind, rattling the windows, while Ant paced back and forth. I'm sure I don't know what's gotten into me, he muttered. He sat down by the fire, watching the flames dance up the chimney. I wonder, said Ant. I wish. The clock struck 10. Bong, 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 bong. And he went to bed. But fragments of rhyme and wisps of music jangled about in his head, and he thrashed and kicked till the bedclothes were all a tangle. When at last he fell asleep, he dreamed he stood on a stage before a great crowd that shouted, "Play, dance, sing!" And he couldn't play a note. Dance a dance? He opened his mouth to sing, but there wasn't a song in him, no song at all. I can't. I'm an ant. Boo! Roared the crowd. Boo! The cold, hateful booing blew Ant right out of bed with a bump, and he woke up. The night had grown quiet. Too quiet, thought Ant. He ran to the door, and there on the step lay Grasshopper, barely visible under the thick layer of snow. Grasshopper, is that you? Said Ant. What are you doing? Get up! Go home! Don't home, said Grasshopper with his teeth chattering. No home, explained Ant. I never heard of such a thing. After a moment, Ant dragged Grasshopper into the house, where he laid him by the fire in the second best peanut shell. Cold, Grasshopper said, shivering. Oh, yes, indeed, poor fellow. Have some hot cider, said Ant. But Grasshopper was shivering too hard to swallow. Here, said Ant, here are 5 delicious beans and 3 bites of nutritious cheese and 2 more delicious raisins. But Grasshopper was shivering too hard to eat. Oh, I hope he's going to be okay. Ant tucked a dandelion down quilt around Grasshopper. I didn't know, said Ant. I had no idea. I didn't mean. Grasshopper's eyes opened, and he looked up at Ant. Hello, Ant, he said. Do! Bless you, said Ant, wiping the sneeze off his face. Bless you, said Grasshopper. Did I hear you mention beans and raisins? It looks like it might get better. All through the winter, Grasshopper stayed with Ant, playing and singing every evening when Ant was done counting. One evening, as the old year drew to a close, the 2 friends sat by the fire. 1,142, said Ant, closing the account book with a sigh. Sometimes, he said, sometimes I wish I could sing. Just a bit, you know. Sing, said Grasshopper. Anyone can sing, but working hard and counting are splendid things. Why, you saved my life with your 11 jillion beans, raisins, and corn. 1,142, actually, said the Ant, including peanuts, but anyone can count. Not me, said Grasshopper. He played a chord on his fiddle. Do you know, here we come a-waffling? He sang it 3 times through, and then, rather shyly, and to tell the truth, quite off-key, Ant joined in. Here we come a-waffling with syrup and with jam. Here we come to dance and jig and eat a lot of ham. Pizza joy, come to you. I'm not sure how the rest of it goes. Made of pickles, mice, and glue. And we wish you and squish you a happy new year. And we wish you a happy new year. Here we come a-waffling. That's cute. I wish I could sing like you, said Ant. I love the way you sing, said Grasshopper. I wish I could count. Oh, Grasshopper, said Ant. Everybody counts. I love how they became friends. How about you? What a great book. I hope you can find it in the library and read it for yourself. Enjoy your day and keep reading.